Dearest gentle reader, it is often said that those who marry in haste must repent at leisure, a sentiment that is clearly shared by Miss Daphne Bridgerton.
For inside this episode, you go learn 21 English lessons and we go look at vocabulary, pronunciation, idioms and many other things for inside the Netflix original series, Bridgerton. We go enter inside season 1, season 2 and season 3. Now, e get one thing where I don't learn as I dey do IELTS. For the 7 years where I help doctors, nurses and other people, professional workers, say if you will speak English confidently, you need to listen to a lot of content in good English and you must practice them regularly. And now this exact thing we go do today. We go listen to clips from the Bridgerton series together and we go practice them together. You go learn 8 vocabulary and correct pronunciation. We go come add 6 idioms, join them, 5 life lessons a day inside. We go put 1 phrasal verb and we go put 1 phrase. At the end of everything, we go come do exam. You go answer 3 simple questions, chickeny questions. On top that one, we go still add small gist about Bridgerton season 4. But yeah, here we go. Whether you are looking to improve your job prospects, build better relationships, or embark on more exciting adventures, the Mother Isn't Model podcast is here to help. Join me, Adenike Babalola, your English language coach, as we explore authentic and memorable English lessons from my favorite English films designed to help you speak English confidently. Click to follow and subscribe and enjoy the episode. My people, I greet you. Now me your girl Adenike Babalola. You get a wonder, say, wetin happen? This girl don't change from inside English to inside pidgin. Me, I no lie for you. That English where they talk, the thing don't too much for my mouth. I don't tire. So I say, oh yeah, maybe we rest for English side. Maybe we carry and go pidgin. Now, pidgin is Nigerian pidgin actually is one very interesting unifying language that allows us to connect with so many tribes. And so whether you are Nigerian in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, I hope that you enjoy this episode. And if you are not used to Nigerian pidgin, I promise that I'm going to be mixing both pidgin and English. The goal is to make sure that this episode is fun for me as well as it is for you, okay? Oh yeah, maybe we continue. So as now know, if you don't follow me listen before, you know say I dey like to dey energize you before we start the lesson. Me, I like to dey put ginger for your body. And so I go play that part where Colin tell Penelope, say,
living for the estimation of others is a trap. Once you break free, the world opens up.
You make it sound so easy.
Pen, living for the estimation of others is a trap. Once you break free, the world opens up. The question I want to ask you be say, how you dey live your life? Shey you dey wait for, what will people think? What will people think? If you dey live your life on top, say people go talk this one, talk that one, my brother, my sister, we not go reach anywhere. But I want make you know, as Colin telling girlfriend inside this Netflix series, say, make who dey live your life for yourself. So long as say you sure say the thing where you dey do, no bad. Make you live your life for yourself. Carry your own matter for your own head. Okay? Now, may we enter inside the summary of Bridgerton. Wetin this series dey about? Una don read this book by Julia Quinn. Bridgerton. Now Julia Quinn get am. Now she write am for early year 2000s. Now she write am. But how this series come dey? E get this family for the Regency era. Now true story, but be like say as they tell am for on TV, they combine, they put some Ajasa inside. But this Bridgerton, a family them be. They get 8 children. Anthony, as the series show am, we see Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne, Eloise, Francesca, Gregory, and Hyacinth. The 8 of them, now brothers and sisters them be. Their mama dey, but she lose her husband one time. Anyways, for inside the story, we see say now marriage, they fool these people mind. My daughter never marry, I won't marry. If you look and put them inside our society of today, we go look and say, why these people they concerned about marriage all the time? But the truth be say, for this time, early 19th century, the concern of the day was marriage the roles of women in society and the elites, the upper class, and the lavish balls that they usually had. So for that time, now party that they do. Those people will get money, they use them oppress. Inside this story, they call them ton, T-O-N. So for this story, we they see say, now marriage they do. When they don't pass like age 18, and mama go bring her out, they call them debut. And that one self now one of the lessons where we go learn today. When I don't hear the word demure.
You see how I do my makeup for work? Very demure, very mindful.
Now we're going to start with the very first lesson. And this is the word demure. I just want to say that this word has caused a scandal all over the world. And I think this started maybe sometime around July, or was it August exactly, when there was this person that put up a video on TikTok and it was trending. And I think based on Good Morning America's report, I saw that there were over 48 million views on Instagram, on TikTok rather, because there was this thing about very demure, very mindful, okay, or very mindful, very demure, and all of that. And this word was literally stalking me because I kept seeing this word repeatedly, and I noticed that the usage, I was quite confused initially. So I visited Cambridge Dictionary and I checked the meaning, and I said, okay, this word means so. So why are people using it in this particular way? Not until my cousin, shout out to you sis, sent me this, a video saying she wanted me to do a video on this. And I watched the one she sent me, the reel she sent me. And then I promised that if I find a video where this word is used, I'm going to do a video on it, okay? And I think maybe 2 or 3 days after, I started watching Bridgerton and I saw this word. And so right now, we're going to listen to the clip where the word demure was used, so you will learn exactly what it means. Don't go anywhere.
You do not even know him.
They do not need to know him.
Besides the fact he's a prince.
Surely you cannot be surprised. You know how this works, Daphne. Was it not you who wrote the book on the very subject?
I'll watch as Miss Cowper lowers her eyes. Oh, so demure.
Okay, so in this scene, you find that they are at a ball and there's this prince that's come from Prussia and everybody's excited to see him. He's the queen's nephew. The prince is the queen's nephew. And then Daphne and Simon are talking, and they're talking about the fact that Cressida goes to the prince to more or less show off herself and everything. And what Daphne says is, watch as Miss Cowper lowers her eyes. Simon says, and Daphne says, oh, so demure. Okay, now what does demure mean? Demure means somebody is reserved or modest or quiet, well behaved. All right, in my mother tongue Yoruba, we would say omoluabi. When somebody is well behaved, the person is moderate and has a good behavior, you say omoluabi. I think in Korean they say Yam Jon Han. I don't know if I got that right, okay? If you are Korean listening to this podcast, please correct me. You can type the correct thing into the comment section. If you're using YouTube or even Spotify, you can leave a comment, okay? The point is, this word has been used as if it means to be mindful, to be attentive and all of that. But what it really means is for a woman to be, or a girl to be quiet, to be well behaved and modest and all of that, okay? So that is it for demure. Did you get it? All right, great. Now let's move on to the second one, which is ruse. R-U-S-E. Ruse. Don't go anywhere.
Here we are. Our plan has worked thus far, but we must continue our ruse until I found my match.
In the grand battle of the season, I am your trusted general, marshalling the troops.
And Wellington could only hope for a soldier so brave.
And handsome. So don't you get that?
Okay, so in this scene again, which is from season 1, you find that Daphne and Simon are having a meal, and then Daphne says, our plan has worked thus far, but we must continue our ruse until I have found my match. Now we know that Daphne and Simon agreed to a pretend courtship in that sense, where they make everybody believe that they're actually dating, but they are not, or they are engaged in that sense. Now, the point is, she uses the word ruse, R-U-S-E. When you say ruse, you mean somebody is pretending, or they are doing something to deceive other people, or they are probably doing something like a trick. Okay, so in my mother tongue, Yoruba, we would say eton. Eton means deception or trickery. And I think in Korean, they say something like, I'm not sure I'm going to get this right, but let me try. Check, react. Something like that, okay? I might have killed that word, but if you know what this word is in Korean, please type it in the comment section. If you are not Yoruba and you're not a native speaker of English, I would like to know what these words are in your language. How do you say somebody is demure? And how do you say ruse? Something like deception or trickery, okay? So that is it for the second lesson. Let us go now to the third one, which is a word I am ashamed that I did not know was pronounced the way it is pronounced. This word is Viscount. Viscount. Now, merely looking at the word, you think it is Viscount because it is spelled as V-I-S-C-O-U-N-T. Okay, so how do you pronounce this word? Now, I'm just going to pause and keep quiet so that you can listen to exactly how this word was used between Anthony and his mistress, okay?
Your position in life remains unchanged, and so too does mine. You are the Viscount. Your responsibility will always be to that title above all else. You shall marry, sire and heir, and guard your family, and I shall always be the woman you may love in darkness, but never in the light of day.
Okay, so this is Anthony and the opera singer Sienna, and you find that she's right there in the modiste, and he comes to see her and all of it. And this is a moment of truth where she says, you are the Viscount and your responsibility will always be to your family, but this is just who I am. You can't continue to fool me. You're going to marry, you're going to have children, and then that's it for you. Okay, so she uses the word Viscount. Now, it is easy to assume that this word is Viscount because we have the word discount, D-I-S-C-O-U-N-T. But this is V-I-S-C-O-U-N-T. So you have Viscount. Viscount. It is the same pronunciation in the British English and the American English, okay? In Korean, they would say Jajak, okay? I hope I got that right. And then in Yoruba, I'm not quite sure what it should be, but it's something like, Amotekun. I'm not quite sure of the exact word, but a Viscount is a British man of high social rank who is between an earl and a baron, okay? So that's what you have. That's what it means, and that's the correct way to pronounce it, all right? Now let us move on to the next lesson, and this is the word cruel, which I used to pronounce as cruel. Like, guy, this is cruel, try. Okay, but it is not cruel because the second syllable does not have the sound L. What you have here is a sure sound, and so I'm going to pause and you're going to listen to Lady Danbury as she uses this word.
But if you are merely dallying with her, and if she loses her chance of such an extraordinary match simply because she's too wrapped up in your charms, well then, she would be a fool, and I would never forgive you your carelessness.
Miss Bridgerton is far from a fool.
Then you are just being cruel. And we both know I taught you better than that.
Alright, so this is one where Lady Danbury is trying to get the truth from Simon. Like, are you really with this girl, or is it a prank? Is it a joke? Because obviously at this point, the Queen's nephew, Queen Charlotte's nephew, Prince Friedrich, is already interested in Daphne. And the agreement between Daphne and Simon is, okay, Simon does not want to get married, so he's using Daphne as a cover so that the marriage-minded mamas would not bug him. But then you find that Daphne also needs to get a suitor, okay? So the idea of their so-called relationship is just to keep people off for Simon and then to bring men closer, because then once one suitor, once one man is with you, other men become interested in you. Okay, so that's the thing here. But what Lady Danbury means is, if you are only wasting her time, it means that she's going to lose the prince and then nobody else is going to come. And then, of course, this is going to be cruel. Simon says she's not a fool. Okay, so the word here is, the word we are focusing on is cruel. This is one word I always pronounce as cruel. And I had to start paying attention to the correct thing. What you have in the second syllable is the sure sound so you have cruel. Okay, so when you connect it together, the first syllable is cruel and the second is so you have cruel. Okay, not cruel, not cruel. I am repenting and I invite you to say the correct thing at all times. Okay, so in Yoruba, my mother tongue, we would say ika when we want to say that somebody is wicked, because we know that cruel means, now you see I made that mistake again, right? So you say cruel. Cruel means to be intentionally causing pain or doing something that is unkind to other people or even to animals. Okay, so in Yoruba we would say ika ni bobonye, and that is to say that that boy is wicked or is cruel, especially maybe because he broke a girl's heart or something like that. In Korean, what you have is chaninhan. Okay, chaninhan. Did I get that? I'm trying to practice my Korean. Okay, now I want you to tell me, how do you say somebody is cruel in your native language, maybe your mother tongue, especially if you are not a native English speaker, you're not Korean, you're not Yoruba? How do you say cruel? Please type it into the comments below. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next word, and that is the word debut. Okay, let's look at it.
We all need a little excitement. There is another Bridgerton making her debut this year.
I cannot hear anything. Probably because she knows we're out here eavesdropping. I'm sure that she is well enough.
As you were last year.
This is not last year.
Okay, so this is one from season 3, and it is in the voice of Lady Whistledown, the very hilarious and amazing writer that makes this series really beautiful for me. I think one thing that really made me enjoy this is the fact that Lady Whistledown just continued to do a gossip and witty writing and all of that. But the particular word we are focusing on here is debut. And at the beginning of this, you find that Francesca, who is what number is she now? She is number 6. She's the 6th Bridgerton child. Okay, so she's also making a debut, and debut refers to your coming out for the first time. Okay, when somebody is presented or presenting or performing for the first time. Okay, in Korean it's still the same word, debut, and in Yoruba we would say something like akojokbo kiko, like the first gathering or the first opening or the first occasion, something like that. All right, so you have, should we all need a little excitement, there is another Bridgerton making a debut this year. And we know that this season, the Bridgerton season 3, is where we see the polling experience. That's Colin and Penelope, and then you have Francesca versus Lord Kilmartin and all of that. Okay, so let us move on now to the next word. Before we move on, remember that the T at the end of the word debut is silent. Okay, so what you have is not debut. In fact, I had to learn this many years ago. Okay, but it's one that I still remain conscious about. And other words that sound like this are ballet. We don't say ballet, so we say ballet. And then there's also buffet. Okay, buffet. I think in British English you say buffet, and then in American English you say buffet. Okay, buffet. All right, that's it for our lesson number 5. Let us now go to lesson number 6. This is the word feigned. Feigned. I'm going to be quiet now, and you're going to listen to Simon use this word with Daphne. Okay, let's go.
Cressida swooned.
Prince Friedrich called.
Water?
Yes, water, please. I dare say it was the most romantic thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
feigned swoon. Chapter 6, I believe. We got to up our game.
Okay, so this is one where I just really realized that this Cressida girl was just a thing. But in this part, in this scene, you find that they're at a ball, and then Prince Friedrich, who is the esteemed nephew of the queen, is being presented and everything. And then you find that the drama that you would usually perform to get the attention of a suitor is to swan. This is something that, was a theme throughout the Bridgerton series. Now, the word we're focusing on is a feigned swan. Okay, what Simon says is a feigned swan. He whispers that to Daphne. When you say something is feigned, what do you mean? You mean that it is not real. Okay, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines feigned as not genuine or real. Okay, it's not genuine. Oh, we did that in a previous lesson, right? So it is not genuine and it is not real. Okay, in my mother tongue Yoruba, we would say eke or something like iro. Something is not real, it is not genuine. Okay, and in Korean, you would say kachang duen. Kachang duen. Did I get that? If you're Korean, please correct me. Put it in the comment section. What is the correct pronunciation or word for when somebody is faking something, feigned? The G here is silent, so it's just an A, the long A. The diphthong A, so you have feigned. All right, now let us move on to lesson 7. And this is one word that you can pronounce in 2 ways. Okay, don't go anywhere.
At the whim of either the most cruel or the most simple person I know. I must take a husband before that happens. It is time.
I see. And does my lady have a certain suitor in mind?
I should like to be sensible. Someone kind, who allows for my privacy for obvious reasons.
Then a new look is just the thing.
Perhaps something like what they're wearing in Paris.
So in this scene, you find that Penelope decides that she's ready to get a husband because she's just tired of the fact that her mom is cruel, her sisters are irritable, and all of that. So this is Bridgerton season 3. And of course, we know that she has always been interested, or she has always loved Colin, right? Colin Bridgerton is the 3rd child, okay? Is the 3rd son, all right? Now, she goes to the modiste. This is Madame Delacroix, who is also known as Genevieve, and she goes to her and she says, I must get a husband and all of it. And then Madame Delacroix asks, do you have a suitor in mind? And then what Penelope says is, she wants somebody who is sensible, or she would like to be sensible, and then she wants somebody who allows for her privacy. Remember that Penelope is mad, is Lady Whistledown, right? And it's just very unsuspecting because she's the least liked character, or she's the least liked daughter or person. Nobody really notices her in that sense. But this time around, she decides, I need to get a life for myself, all right? And when she says somebody that allows for her privacy, you notice that that's not the way we know the word privacy to be. Well, I have always known it to be privacy. I don't know about you, but I discovered, after paying attention, and thanks to the Cambridge Dictionary, that the Americans say privacy, while the British say privacy. Okay, so in British English you have privacy, and then in American English you have privacy. And it's not even a, is a c. It's a sure. The second syllable is v. Privacy. So you have privacy or privacy. Did you get that? And it means that someone has the right to keep their personal matters and business to themselves. They want it to be a secret. They don't want it to be out there in public. Okay, so that is it for lesson 7, privacy. Now we're going to lesson 8, which is the word necessary. Necessary. Okay.
It was very well, but we have bigger fish to fry. First, explain. Furtive looks necessary. Come now, you must admit it's all rather sudden. What was sudden was my last betrothal.
Alright, in this scene you have the 3 Bridgerton brothers. Well, the older ones, Anthony, Benedict and Colin. And they're surprised that Colin has proposed to Penelope, okay? They're engaged. And the question the older brothers have is, hey, this is kind of sudden. And then he says, no furtive looks necessary. Like, don't look at me in one bad way. And the way he uses the word is necessary. Excuse me, for the most part of my life, I have pronounced this word as necessary. Necessary. But every time I hear somebody say necessary, I feel like, hey, what is wrong with you? What are you saying? And so I had to do my research and I realized that in the UK, you say necessary, okay? It's kind of shorter, as if you're saying 3 syllables instead of 4. But the US would typically pronounce this as necessary. And so you find that even in Bridgerton, you have necessary. Okay, so this is just to emphasize that we have 4 syllables in this word. And even Colin, says necessary. Okay, so if you are like me and you say necessary, hey, in fact, we even say necessary. I remember that when I was younger, we would insert a T. It's not necessary. But please, let us repent and, turn a new leaf. This word is necessary. Okay, in my mother tongue, Yoruba, we will say nkan se pataki. Okay, it is important. For privacy in Yoruba, we would say ashiri or something in kontombo. Okay, but for necessary you have pataki. Okay, oshik pataki. And in Korean you will say piryohan. Okay, did I get that? Okay, so for privacy in Korean, what you have is sasenghwal. I'm trying. You think I'm trying, right? And I would like you to please tell me how you say privacy or privacy in your language and then necessary. Okay, so that is it for our vocabulary. Now we're going to move on to idioms. But before we do that, I would like to remind you to make sure that you subscribe and like the episode, like this lesson, if you've been enjoying it so far, okay? If you're listening on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. And if you're using Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you follow the podcast as well. Now let us move on to the 6 idioms that we are considering in this lesson. So the first lesson we're looking at is pass the time. Pass the time. What do you mean when you say pass the time? You mean, well, I'm just going to keep quiet and you're going to learn it for yourself, okay?
Bloody hell, see? You're scared of my wits. What? I use the back entrance as you asked. Heaven forbid someone discover you consort with the most notorious opera singer in all of London.
You are but 3rd on that list. You know you are always welcome here. I know you are used to finer comforts, but stay as long as you need.
You are a dear friend, but I shall find an arrangement with another gentleman soon enough.
Hopefully someone less of an ass than your last. I know, we will not think of him.
This is beautiful work.
For Lady Cowper's girl. Not that it will help her get an offer. Not even my finest silks will compensate for that sneer. I could make you something out of the same fabric. Perhaps for your performance next month.
I should think it an odd choice of colour for me. I am no innocent debutante.
And more's your good fortune. Would you prefer to sit around simpering over your needlework or whatsoever it is these debutantes must do to pass the time? You and I make our own way in the world.
That we do.
Alright, in this scene, you find that Madame Delacroix and Sienna, the opera singer, are together in the Modistes. And of course, this is late at night and everything. That is why, Madame Delacroix was kind of scared and all. But they sit down together and they're having a drink. And then she says, would you prefer, that's what Madame Delacroix says now, would you prefer to sit around simpering over your needlework or whatever it is these debutantes must do to pass the time? Okay, so they're more or less celebrating the fact that they are not limited to the life of you must get married, you need to find a suitor, you need to get betrothed and all of that. Okay, so what we have here is pass the time. And the idiom pass the time means to do something to keep yourself busy, okay? It's just to do something to keep busy while you are waiting. In my mother tongue Yoruba, we will say láti fi àkókò kọjá. Láti fi àkókò kọjá. You just want time to fly past, right? So in Korean, I'm not quite sure, but I need you to correct me. So this is probably, it would sound like this. Shigano boneda, okay? It's just like send time or pass time, all right? So, but if you're sure, if you're Korean, please tell me. I want to learn from you. How do you say pass the time in your language? Please type it into the comment section. Whether you're using YouTube or you're using Spotify, please let me know how to say this. And if you're not Korean or Yoruba or a native English speaker, how do you say pass the time in your language? Okay, I want to learn from you. Now, the second idiom on our list is up our game. When you say up your game, what do you mean? I'm going to keep quiet and you're going to listen to the clip where this was used, all right?
Thing I've ever seen?
Yes. The famed swoon. Chapter 6, I believe. We ought to up our game.
Okay, so this is the same scene where Cressida Cowper swooned and Simon tells Daphne that, okay, this is a feigned swoon, I believe. We ought to up our game, okay? We ought to up our game. That's what it says, and both of them sneakers. So when you say up your game, what does it mean? It means to do something harder or to improve what you're doing. It's more like you need to step up and be better, okay? In my mother tongue, you would say wa shinkan, láti mú iṣẹ́ wa pọ̀ sí. More like you do something so that your work is more, your output is more and everything, okay? You're trying to make something better, all right? So how do you say this in Korean? How do you say this in your language, whether that is Arabic, Chinese, or whatever it is, Kazakhstan? Please let me know in the comment below, okay? So the third idiom we're looking at is be all the rage. What do you mean when you say something is all the rage? Okay, I'm going to keep quiet and you're going to listen to Colin as he mentions this idiom when he's speaking with Penelope. Of course, this is season 3, okay? This is Bridgerton season 3.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Is it?
Truly, it's felt like I've been absent years instead of months.
Much has certainly changed in that time.
A good deal, I know. It was all the rage in Paris.
You look distinguished, but then again you always have.
Well, when all is said and done, it's merely clothing.
Okay, so you find that Colin has just returned from his second trip. Now, you know that after season 1 he traveled, after season 2 he traveled, so he's back from Devon, and of course he has been to so many places and all. While he's speaking with Penelope, he talks about the fact that a lot of things have changed and he feels as if he was away for years instead of months and everything. And then he says, a good deal, I know. It was all the rage in Paris, okay? So when you say something is all the rage, you mean that something is popular at a particular time, or a lot of things are trending. There's a lot of popularity and excitement around a particular period, okay? So that is what you mean. And of course, in my mother tongue Yoruba, we would say ki nkan je ohun to gbajumo. More like it is popular, it is known, it is everywhere and everything, okay? In Korean, you will say deyuhengida. I hope I am correct, okay? But if you're sure and if you can help me pronounce this correctly, please type in the comment section what be all the rage is in Korean, and of course in your own mother tongue, irrespective of what it is, okay? Now let's look at idiom number 4. Put the cart before the horse. Put the cart before the horse.
Oh, it is fatiguing preparing to be lady of this house. Shall I take your fatigue as a good sign? That you have been engaging in the unnecessary activities.
Albion and myself have frequented 3 different places of business just this morning.
Places of business? What kind of places?
An upholsterer, a silk mercer, and do not let Barley hear about a meeting with a new housekeeper.
I might like to change some things when I become the new Lady Featherington.
But I want to keep Varley. Do you not think that you are both putting the cart somewhat before the horse?
Okay, so this is one part I always look forward to listening to Lady Featherington and our daughters. Okay, you have Prudence and you have Philippa. All right, now both of them are married, of course, and in short, for them to keep their estate and everything, you find that they need an heir. Okay, Lady Featherington needs one of her children to have a male child so that they can keep this place where they live. But then you find that our daughters are actually not interested in having kids, right? Just yet. And of course, they're more interested in other things. And she says to them, don't you think you are putting the cart somewhat before the horse? Okay, so when you say to put the cart before the horse, what you mean is you are doing things in the wrong order. Okay, you mean that you should normally do A before B, but you're actually doing B before A. Okay, so in this case, of course, they should have children before deciding about making changes in the house and everything. But you find that the girls are talking about something different. So this is their mom saying, don't you think what she means is, don't you think you're considering the wrong thing first? You should be concerned about at least having a child, a son first, so that you know that this place that we live in is secured before eventually making changes into the house and everything. Okay, so that is it for idiom number 4. Let us now go on to idiom number 5. Don't go anywhere.
Come now, you must admit it's all rather sudden. What was sudden was my last betrothal, so I cannot blame either of you if you're prone to think me foolish. My feelings for Penelope are not a thunderbolt from the sky. I have known her a very long time, and perhaps I have always felt something for her.
Okay, so we're back at the scene where Colin is speaking with his two other brothers, Anthony and Benedict, and you find that they're more or less asking him, hey, you guys are betrothed all of a sudden, like, how did this happen? And then he says, this is not a thunderbolt. My feelings for Penelope are not a thunderbolt from the sky. We're focusing on the idiom thunderbolt from the sky. What does this mean? It means something that is sudden. When you say thunderbolt from the sky, it feels like it is strange, it is shocking, it's unexpected and everything. Okay, so when you say this, you're trying to tell somebody that this thing is unexpected, is unexpected. I wasn't expecting this. Now, what Colin means is, my feelings for Penelope are not out of this world. They're not sudden. I've always felt this particular way toward her, but he probably did not talk about it. He did not realize it and everything. So if you want to tell somebody that something is shocking, it's sudden, it's abrupt, it's unexpected, you say, hey, this is a thunderbolt from the sky. Like, I didn't see this coming. And that is one lesson that we did in episode 4, The Intern, featuring Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. So if you have not listened to that lesson, you definitely need to improve how you speak at your place of work. So let us move on now to idiom number 6. Are you ready? Let's go.
Her Majesty the Queen.
She's here. As I assumed, lackluster at best.
Okay, so this is one that I totally loved because nobody was expecting this giant thing to happen at the ball that the Mondridge decided to host. Okay, so you find that the guy who was into boxing before, Will, and his wife Alice, these were just regular people who were not in the town. But then you find that because their son inherits something that one of their aunts had and everything, you find that there's suddenly this, in our term, we say rich, rich by chance in that sense. And of course, Lady Danbury, I told them, see, if you want to be part of this thing, you need to throw a ball. And so they throw a ball, and then you find that the Queen has just arrived. Queen Charlotte arrives, and then she looks from left to right with that look on her face, and she says, lackluster, as expected, right? But then it felt like Asheme Bolakoni. And that's my mother tongue to say, see, we're just bringing out the best for you. And then there's this thing at the center of the room that opens up. It opens up and you see beautiful flowers. It's a very wonderful design. It feels like a magic flower machine that opens up, right? And it is so mesmerizing. Everybody loves it. And the Queen is smiling. She's grinning from ear to ear. And she says, not bad at all. So what do you mean when you say not bad? Right, back in high school, there was something they taught us. There's this literary device that we were taught where you use the opposite of something to say what you're trying to say. So instead of saying something is good, you say it is not bad, like the opposite, right? So when you say not bad, you're saying that something is quite good, it's acceptable, it's good, it's okay. It's just like when you say amaze balls, right? So you mean that something is good, it's acceptable, it is fine, it's all right. So that's what you have here. And in my mother tongue Yoruba, what you're trying to say is koburu, like odara, koburu. Okay, so this is an informal way of saying something is good. And of course, they always tried to impress the Queen because they know that she was just, she was into, the ladies getting married and everything, throwing balls, entertainment and everything. But this is just to show you that eventually they were able to persuade her to see that, hey, it was not just a small ball. They actually add something magnificent in it. Okay, that is the end of our idioms. Now we are moving to the phrasal verb.
Brings legitimate evidence of Lady Whistledown's identity to the palace shall receive a £5,000 reward. Yours truly, Her Majesty, Queen Charlotte.
Finally, the woman will get the consequences she deserves. Imagine, I'm asking Whistledown.
You will not try, will you?
I'm certain I will not have to. Someone else will surely root her out. Oh, what did you wish to tell me?
Nothing. It is not important now.
Okay, so I just want to say that season 3 was one part that had my heart up. Like, I just did not want them to unmask Whistledown. I did not want Lady Whistledown to be unmasked. I didn't want her to be figured out because we know that it was Penelope. And, she's this person that nobody would have suspected that she would do something this brilliant. And I liked what she stood for because this is a society where all they were interested in was marriage, and, balls and parties and everything. But in as much as it seems somewhat, unserious to us, the point is this was how women in that time secured their life. Marriage meant security. You will be married to a man, you have children, your legacy can go on and all of it. So that was what mattered at this time in the 19th century. All right. And that's why the Queen herself was interested in it. Of course, if you have seen Queen Charlotte, you know that that's the series Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story. You know that you see the history of the Queen, her husband, and that's George. And of course, the old George III, based on the way the story is told, even though there's a mix of the true story and a bit of extras. All right, but the point I'm trying to make is the use of root out is a case of they're going to find out, they're going to bring out Lady Whistledown, who is somebody that everybody has been trying to discover. You want to find her and get rid of her. And in this scene, you find that Queen Charlotte has actually put down a prize, £5,000, for anybody who can discover or even give evidence of her existence. Now, because Penelope knows the truth, she knows who she is kind of panicky when Colin talks about it. But this is just to show you that, see, it's an interesting series. It's one you need to watch. I'm glad that I did watch it because my initial bias, just melted away, okay? So the phrase that we're looking at is cast your eye over. Cast your eye over. Now, inside Bridgerton, mama, Lady Bridgerton, now she go meet her son, Anthony. She go inside in study. She go meet him. Oh yeah, may you listen for yourself. May you hear how she used this expression.
Will you be joining us at tonight's ball, Anthony?
I have accepted the invitation.
She might cast her eye over this list before the event then.
What is this?
These are names. 14 to be exact. 14 single eligible young ladies, all from excellent families.
So when you say cast your eye over, what you mean is to look at something in a way that you observe it quickly, to look at something quickly and get the information in a very fast way, okay? So now waiting Mama Bridgerton mean for this side. Say, may Anthony look this list of 14 girls. Say, may you look the list, you go look and say, okay, which of these girls I go see which one of them where I like. So now waiting cast your eye over mean be that, okay? For inside Yoruba, my mother tongue, we go say sare won kon. You go quickly look something, look at it quickly. And in Korean, they would say ulta boda, okay? If you be Korean, I beg help your girl. Correct me. How do you say cast your eye over in Korean? I beg put them for inside comment section. May you teach me. Remember, I say nobody be island. I don't know it all and I am still learning. I will be happy to learn from you. So let us go now to the 5 life lessons. Already I have shared one with you, so we're going to look at the other 4. Okay, let's get to it.
It's more about confidence than anything else. You decided that stag was too large to shoot before you even touched the trigger, I'm afraid. You'll learn. You'll learn in time. You make it sound so easy. Nothing ever rattles you, does it? Oh, I believe your mother would have quite a few things to say about that. You do know that you cannot show someone your best without allowing them to see your worth. Well, speaking of which, she would adore those. They're quite lovely, are they not? Daphne will be jealous if we return with nothing for her. Oh, this bloody... Father! Oh, the damn thing stung me. Whatever... Father? What is it? What? Help us, someone! Someone, please! Help! Father! Help!
What happened?
I don't know! Is it a bee? A bee?
You must breathe! No, please. Please. Edmund! Do not please! They have been children. They could not see it. Anthony! Go!
Okay, so this was one of the most painful scenes to watch in, the entire Bridgerton. Okay, this was a sad moment. This was the part where Anthony and his dad, his father, Viscount Bridgerton, had just returned from hunting. Okay, and the lesson here was initially Anthony could not shoot at the stag, and his father said it's really about confidence. You've already decided that it's too big, and then that's why. But that's not the point. The point we're focusing on is the fact that it says you cannot show somebody, okay, the way he puts it is you do know that you cannot show someone your best without allowing them to see your worst. You cannot show someone your best without allowing them to see your worst. And this is just to say that you need to be authentic. When you come to people, come with your full self. Yes, I know that in relationships, you're not sure how people are going to perceive you, how they're going to treat you. But one thing that made the relationship between Violet and Edmund strong and a strong point of reference throughout this series was the fact that they loved each other deeply and truly. And so I think this was the lesson that his father passed on to him just some minutes before he gets stung by a bee, and then everything just goes really fast and Edmund dies. What is the lesson for you? Be authentic. Be your truest self. When you're in relationships with people, whether it's, a friendship or a courtship or marriage, one thing that really matters is show yourself as who you are. Don't be afraid to bring your full self out. If you are honest enough to say, this is who I am, it's very, very likely that this person will accept you with your good and your bad. Okay, so this is a lesson in authenticity, being authentic. Now we're going to look at the next one, which is a scene between Kate Sharma and Lady Danbury. Okay, let's go.
Should return to the party.
I shall be there in a moment.
Well, the Viscount certainly seems to have nettled you. He can be exasperating.
He is incorrigible. He is not for my sister. I shall make sure she sees of it too, one way or another.
Some advice, Miss Sharma? When one is frustrated, it is often much wiser to focus upon satisfying one's own needs. Attempting to influence others as to the correct course of action, well, it is often a trying and irritating endeavour that only brings out the worst in us before we discover it has been fruitless all along.
I am aware I've made a fool of myself tonight, Lady Danbury. I do not need to hear it from you. In fact, I do not need to hear it from anyone. I do not care what a single person here thinks of me. Once Edwina is married, I shall return home alone, only too glad to never set foot in this city again.
You may not yet know, and that is all well and good. But I, for one, find it not only terribly disheartening, but also an offence against truth to hear you say you wish to be alone at a mere 26.
Okay, so this time around, we're looking at something that has to do with managing your emotions. It's a bit of emotional intelligence, if you ask me, okay? Now, what Lady Danbury says is, when one is frustrated, it is often much wiser to focus on satisfying one's own needs. This is a case of look inward, because what you have here is, this is season 2, Kate Sharma, that's Kathani, is more interested in her sister Edwina getting married, getting a suitor and all of that. And you find that Edwina is interested in Anthony Bridgerton. But then Kate, we know that she has her own wobbly feelings underneath. Of course, there's the initial drama because, big sis energy. She's like the head of the family, in quote, after the experience her mom had with her own dad and everything. The point is, Kate is doing this macho thing of Anthony cannot have a sister. It's not good for her and everything. But then Lady Danbury, and this is the part where Anthony had just presented a poem. It was like a meeting of guys who came around, of the men who came around to perform before Edwina, right, at Lady Danbury's place. This is a lesson in being aware of yourself. Lady Danbury continues, attempting to influence others as to the correct course of action. Well, it is often a trying and irritating endeavor that only brings out the worst in us before we discover it has been fruitless all along. So this is a lesson in being aware of yourself. And I think what Lady Danbury is saying in this scene is just stop trying to control Edwina and Anthony. Stop trying to control things. Leave things alone. Stop meddling in it. Stop interfering. Now we know that Katani has her own issues with the guy. Both of them already feel something for each other, right? And we see how it plays out throughout season 2. And I just want to say that I love this because, I think people have titled this From Friends to Enemies. That's like what this season is about, right? But this is just to say that when you are frustrated or when you're not happy about something, sometimes all you have to do is look inward. Ignore the other person. Ignore the people involved. Look at how you can control your own energy, because it is true that we cannot control others. There's no magic wand that can help you dictate how another person should behave. But if you adjust your own self, make changes in yourself and everything, you'll begin to see. This is something I know so well, that when I work on myself, somehow it feels as if I begin to see changes in other people. Okay, now we're going to look at another scene between Madame Delacroix and Penelope, okay? This is from Bridgerton season 3. Don't go anywhere.
I had hoped you might come by the night before your wedding. Genevieve Colin found out.
Oh dear.
He does not know about your involvement.
Well, that is good. But how are you?
I'm relieved. In a way. It's been painful carrying this secret. But he hates me for it. And he's every right to. I'm about to be married to the man I love, and I do not know that I am worthy of him.
You have made some ill-considered choices in your time. You were a girl. You did not know her own power.
But does that justify it?
No. There's no going back to the past. All one can do is be true to one's choices and look forward.
Alright, so in this scene, you find that we know now that Colin has found out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown of the society papers, okay? And then she goes to the modiste to see Madame Delacroix, and she says, Genevieve, Colin found out, and I'm supposed to get married to this man that I love, but he's disappointed and everything. And then Genevieve tries to say, yes, you've made some mistakes, but then what we're focusing on is this: there is no going back to the past. All one can do is be true to one's choices and look forward. And I think that this is a lesson that applies to coming back after making a mistake. When you think you have done something wrong, really you cannot dwell on the past. Sometimes it might not even necessarily be what you did. Okay, it might just be a case of things that happened in your past life. Well, not past life, like in your past, right? And then you don't know how to go forward. The truth is, there is no going back to the past. You cannot return to the past and change things. Look at, Joseph and his brothers. Of course, at the end of the day, we see that he forgave them and everything. Okay, that's in the Bible now. But then, of course, he could not go back to the past and change the fact that he told them his dreams and they threw him in the well and sold him to the Egyptian merchants and all of that. What is the point? When you realize that you have made a mistake or something has gone wrong, the best you can do is be honest with yourself about what you're choosing to do in the present and focus on how you can go from the present to the future. Keep looking forward. Okay, so I don't know what it is. I don't know how this applies to you, but the lesson for the life lesson here is, when you make a mistake, pick yourself up, turn your back on the past, turn your back on the past, and keep going forward. All right, now we're going to listen to the very last lesson, the very last life lesson, and this is one between Lady Danbury and the Mondridge couple, Will and Alice. Okay, let's listen to it.
Of course, we do not wish to draw attention to ourselves by breaking the rules.
Nonsense! You must draw attention to yourselves, and in the best way possible, by throwing a ball. It is one thing to follow the rules, but if you want to win the game, you must lead it. Otherwise, you will always be on the defensive.
We do have a way with entertaining.
When you say somebody is the life of the party, this is Lady Danbury. She was like the energy that kept us enjoying this series, that kept me enjoying this series. I don't know about you, okay, but I love the role that she played at different points, even though we see at the end of the series of season 2 of Bridgerton season 2 that she also had her own personal grievances, especially with her brother Lord Anderson when he returns and everything. But here you find that she tells Alice and Will, it is one thing to follow the rules, but if you want to win the game, you must lead it. Otherwise, you will always be on the defensive. And this is a life lesson that I believe has to do with being audacious. Having the guts, the grit, and the audacity to go after what you want. Now, you find that this couple have just joined the tone and they're afraid of doing anything that would get all this new wealth, acquired wealth and abundance away from them. They're trying to play by the rules. They're trying to play it safe and all. But Lady Danbury says, throw a ball. This way, you are dictating how things will move for you. You get to be in between, you get to be in there, and everybody knows that, hey, you're not just some small people who are afraid to, own it. So this applies in the sense that as you go through life, whether it's for the sake of just learning English or doing anything in your life, try to be audacious. Be audacious. Have the audacity to say, I'm going to do this thing. Nothing will happen. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to be bold and brave and courageous. I don't know what it is you have to do, whether it's learning a new skill, improving your English, speaking every day, attempting something new. The goal is for you to try your best to live your best life with audacity. Okay? Yes, you might want to live in the shadows like Penelope and Lady Whistledown, but the point is, at the end of the day, if you really want to make your mark, yes, follow the rules, but remember that you can also decide to lead, decide to be seen, decide to be part of the game. All right, so that is it for our 21 English lessons from Bridgerton season 1, season 2, and season 3. Now we are going to listen to the quiz questions and you're going to provide your answers. Are you ready? Okay, so that is it. Now let us look at the 3 questions that we have under the quiz segment of this episode. So the first question you have is, what is the meaning of feigned? Remember that you can download this lesson as a pin on Pinterest, okay? So the word feigned is F-E-I-G-N-E-D. When you say something is feigned, what does it mean? Now I'll give you the options. Option A, genuine. Option B, pretended. Option C, enthusiastic. Option D, surprised. What is your answer? Okay, that's correct. Pretended is the correct answer. Remember that this was the part where Cressida Cowper swooned so that, Prince Friedrich would attend to her and get, to focus on her, in short. Okay, so she caught his attention when she swooned, and Simon told Daphne a feigned swoon. Okay, so it's like you can have a feigned laughter A feigned smile, when you just want to pretend and play along like you like somebody or you like something. Let us look at the second question. What does put the cart before the horse mean? When you say put the cart before the horse, what do you mean? Option A, to organize things efficiently. Option B, to do things in the wrong order. Option C, to rush into something. Option D, to wait for the right moment. What is your answer? Correct. Option B, to do things in the wrong order. This is a part where Lady Featherington was talking to her daughters, Prudence and Philippa, about having an heir so that they can keep their property, keep their their house and everything. And then she tells them, you guys, it seems you're putting the cart before the horse. You should put not like the real horse, but you should focus first on having a son before rearranging everywhere, okay? Making changes. So that's it for the second question. Let us now go to the third one, which is a phrasal verb question. What does it mean to root someone out? When you say root someone out, what do you mean? Option A, to cheer someone up. Is that your answer? Option B, to ignore someone. To ignore someone. Option C, to find and remove someone or something. Option D, to help someone grow. I know you got it. Because this has to do with Lady Whistledown. Okay, so that's it. The correct answer is option C, to find and remove someone or something. Okay, the Queen Charlotte, was interested in finding Whistledown because, of course, she wrote a lot of things about almost all the families, the Bridgertons, Featheringtons, Queen Charlotte herself, and it was just a wild ride. And I think this is one reason I love the Bridgerton series. Lady Whistledown was an extremely witty writer. Okay, and then we know that the Bridgerton series, the books, the Bridgerton books are 8. We have 8 Bridgerton books by Julia Quinn, and you have one for each child. The first son, Anthony, that's what we have. Well, we have Daphne. It's just that Daphne's story comes first. Then we have the love story of Anthony and Kate. Then we have Colin and Penelope. Next is season 4. I've been following Netflix. This is a connection between Shonda Rhimes and Netflix. They're doing this together. Okay, so you find that I've been following Shonda Rhimes and I've been looking at all the news about Bridgerton season 4. I read that it will take about 2 years to get it all completed. They're going to film for about 8 months. They're going to dub into languages and everything. So it's going to take some time, okay? But then there's, we can expect more stories on Eloise. You remember Eloise, who happens to be Penelope's best friend? She's just my sweetheart. And I was happy to find out that she does not have a social media account. And it kind of reflects who she was in this series, because she was just anti-everything, anti-marriage. And I like the end where she goes with Francesca and John to Scotland, because it means that she's going to see another part of the world outside of London, Mayfair and the Tone and all of that. All right, so there's also the story of Gregory. Well, that's the younger boy, and then Hyacinth. Okay, so that is it for our lessons today. I'm going to spend about 2 minutes sharing my language learning experiences as far as Korean is concerned. Okay. Okay, so what have I been doing as far as Korean is concerned? The number one thing is I have been resting, okay? So combining everything I do, the podcast, my family, my kids, our homeschooling, and all of it, it's just been, everything. So I decided to take it slow down on everything I'm doing. But I did not stop. I have been receiving content through social media, okay? So I learn from the reels that I see by Korean, people who teach Korean. There's this guy on TikTok, Korea Bong. There's Korean with Ina on YouTube. Friend, there's Ailey. She's on Instagram, she's on TikTok, she's on YouTube as well. So I watch their shorts and I learn from them. And this week is the Chuseok week, okay? This is like the Korean Thanksgiving. So we add 16th, 17th, and 18th as the holiday, all right? And then I took this opportunity to reach out to my many Korean acquaintances, about 20 of them, and I sent them the message Hangbukhan Chuseok Boneseyo to say have a happy Chuseok. Did I say that right? I feel proud of myself because yesterday I was listening to a broadcast in Korean and I just found that I really did not understand a single word. And I was almost going to feel bad when I said, see, it's not about what I don't know. It's about what I know, how far I've come, in this almost 2 years of learning Korean. So this is just me encouraging you to take some time off. If you're learning English, if you're trying to improve your speaking, if you're trying to do anything at all, and it feels like you're overwhelmed, take some time off to rest and you will come back to it better and brighter. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up right now. Let's conclude our lessons. Okay, so we don't finish everything we come learn today. Now the 21 English lessons from inside Bridgerton season 1, season 2, and season 3. Now everything be this. Which of these lessons did you enjoy? Please let me know in the comment section. I'm going to run through the list very quickly. For the first one, you learned demure. Number 2, ruse. Number 3, viscount. Number 4, cruel. Number 5, debut. Number 6, feigned. Number 7, privacy or privacy. Number 8, necessary. Number 9, pass the time. Number 10, up our game. 11, be all the rage. 12, put the cart before the horse. 13, thunderbolt from the sky. 14, not bad. 15, root someone out. 16, cast your eye over. And then we add the 5 life lessons. Okay, so that is it for today. I hope you enjoy this episode as I enjoy it myself. Don't forget, as you finish this one, may you go listen to episode 4. That one, na Anna Hathaway, Day Inside, and Robert De Niro. Now both of them do the intern and you go learn 15 English lessons. If you don't find how you go, they speak better English for your office. I beg, follow me, listen to that one. Don't forget, may you subscribe so that when new episode day, you go listen to them. I beg, may you press the bell so that YouTube self go send you notification quickly. Now me, myself and I, Adenike Babalola, now me produce this episode. Now me edit them, now me release them. I host them on top Buzzsprout. Now Buzzsprout, me distribute them to all the platforms. Now me design the show artwork, the episode artwork, as well as the YouTube thumbnail. Thank you so much for listening. I had a swell time. I hope you did too. When you speak English confidently, you will excel in your job, strengthen your relationships, and feel ready to explore the world. Start speaking English confidently today and watch your communication skills transform from basic to excellent. Thank you for listening to the Mother Isn't Mother podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Don't forget to rate, review, and share the podcast with your friends. And connect with us on social media on Instagram, X, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, and TikTok at Mother Isn't Mother podcast. Check the show notes for all the links. I remain your host and English language coach, Adenike Babalola. Until next time, keep speaking English confidently.